Hi, welcome to Foodzone, and this is a video about the food page. And the food page is the main page on Foodzone because this is where you enter all of your foods to be able to make reports. And the first thing you'll notice, you have a selection up here to choose a date, and that's because every day on Foodzone has its own food page. So if we want to go back a day, we could click on this icon here, and you'll notice the date will change from the 19th to the 18th, and we'll go backwards one day. So let's just click on today, and it will take us back to today, and you'll see this date will change here back to the 19th. We can also click in here and choose 19th, and it will take us forward. Now, what we can see is we already have an apple entered here, and there's a food column, an amount column, a portion column, a little bin. Then we have the kilojoules, carbohydrates, protein, and fat columns, and each grey row here represents a meal. So you could enter food under a breakfast row, a lunch row, a dinner row, or a snack row, but you can't change these. So a food has to go under one of those different grey rows and be entered against a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, or a snack. And you can see that we get the amount of kilojoules, carbs, protein, and fat for that individual food. And we also get a summary for that meal as it adds up as you add more foods. And we push the delete bin for deleting this food. So let's go ahead and delete this apple. Now that's deleted permanently. If we want to re-add that apple, we click apple, comma, and we can come down here, and it was I think it was a Granny Smith. Once we click on that, it just adds the text to this cell. So we still need to push tab for it to then enter that food and give us a portion option. And Foodzone's designed to be used really quickly on a computer, desktop, or on a laptop, and using a combination of the tab key and the mouse makes it very, very quick. You can also use this on a phone or a tablet. It works fantastic on an iPad, but also it works very quickly with the tab and mouse. So once you're in the amount, you could click on one and then push tab again, and it will tab across to the apple selection, and we could choose slice or gram, but let's just leave it with apple and push tab one more time, and what you'll see is it will highlight all the cells, refresh the page, and add a new row. And then we could add in another food. So let's add in flat white. We could enter in a regular flat white. It's entered in the text. We need to then click on that cell again and push enter, and it will give us a portion option. Let's choose cup, come back, put in one, tab along back to the portion, tab again, and that tab button or tab key on the keyboard will refresh the page and add a new row. Now we can see that it's giving us a total of this meal here in the breakfast row of these two items, and we'll see we're getting a total of all the meals here in the bottom total row. And we could keep going and just adding more and more food. So we could add an almond down here. And this is all based on the FSANZ, or Food Standards Australia New Zealand database. And this database is fantastic because it allows us to assess up to 37 different nutrients. And there's a couple of small things about the database. To keep it accurate, we haven't changed the names. So some of the names are quite long and a bit awkward, but that's because the database is so accurate. And if we were to see here, we've got a food here that's in capital letters and a food here that's in lowercase. And this one's in uppercase or capital letters because it's a brand name. It's a brand AO Bars Apricot Almond. So if we click on that, it will add that in there. But if we were to just choose almond again, and we were to choose the almond milk, which is a generic food because it's in lowercase, they both go in just the same. The only difference is the uppercase is letting us know that it is a brand name. And there isn't all the brands in the supermarket in here, which is one of the small downsides of the AusNut 2007 database. But for the sake of being able to get calcium and omega-3 and alpha-linolenic acid and all of those different nutrients, comparing against the government nutrient reference values or NRVs for an individual, make this a very powerful system. And the difference between it just being an ordinary calorie counter and being an Australian-based nutrient dietary analysis software. So another big tip here is that because these names aren't so easily described in the AusNut database, if you know exactly what you're looking for, best to type it in like almond and then push comma and it'll just jump to all of the different almonds. But what you can see here is almond's not actually the first word to search for an almond, but it still came up pretty quick there. But if we knew that almond was a nut, we would have been better off pushing nut. Then we get all these brand names, but if we push comma, then it would have brought up nut, comma, almond, and then we'll just get almonds. So if you know what you're looking for, you're best just to enter that food like almond and then comma as your first attempt because you'll likely get straight there in the first go. But you can scroll up and down and find them. So let's just enter nut almond with skin. It enters that text there. We push tab again across to the amount. It's suggesting 10 nuts. Yeah, let's just say I had two lots of 10 nuts, tab across onto the portion column, tab again, and it will refresh the page and add another row. That's simple. And again, if you wanted to delete that, you just push on the delete bin here. And if we come across in the summary, we can see all of the different nutrients is just totaling up over this individual day for all of the foods that are entered here. And that's the food page.